Hi, my name's Jonathan Hicks, and today I'm joined by
Mark.
Sarah.
And we've just finished playing Too Many Bones. Now, it describes itself on the box as a dice builder RPG. It is very much an adventure game, and as you can see, there are lots and lots of dice for each of the different characters. So each of you picks a different character. I was Pickett here, a tank, and we had Tantrum was a sort of axe-wielding warrior. Mark was playing Boomer, who likes to throw bombs into battle. And our other player was playing Tink, who is an engineer. So you pick a character, and you have these nice neoprene mats and a little dice slotted in various places on these. These are your skills that you can use during battle. And you go on an adventure. So this was an extra, actually. I kickstarted this, so this came with a Kickstarter. But you follow some kind of adventure through here. In this case, we started off at Obendar and worked our way through to Warspire, where you face off against some baddie who kind of terrorizes you during your adventure. But how you play the game is just for each round of the game, you draw one of these encounter cards, and you have some text here, which tells you some kind of adventure. And on the back, you usually have a choice to make. So in this case, you are fighting some baddies, and there's two ways you can fight it on this one. So you either kind of fight them normally and try and get their treasure from their hideout. This will give you some training point, which allows you to improve yourself, like leveling up, and some loot, which is great. Or you can set fire to the thicket, which means the baddies are taking damage each round, so that would be an easier fight, but you're not getting the loot. You're kind of destroying the loot because you're setting fire to the whole thing. So you can often make decisions about having easier fights or more difficult fights. But in terms of how the fights actually work, a lot of the game is spent fighting on this map here. It's abstracted out to a certain extent. So each of the gear locks, I should say that the various characters that you pick are a race, a kind of new invented race for this game. These guys are called gearlocks. They're kind of like half goblin, half elf or something. So these are our characters placed on the map. And when you move, you can only move orthogonally like this. There are certain special abilities will allow the baddies to move diagonally. And you kind of face off against these baddies. So some of them are ranged and will shoot you wherever you are. Some of them are melee and you have to be next to them to attack them. But the way combat works is you have a certain amount of dexterity, which is important. That's how many dice you can roll when it's your turn. Then you have a certain amount of attack and defense. And as you level up, when you get these training points I was talking about, you can kind of add extra dice to these. So now I've got 1 + 1 means I roll 2 attack dice. So combat's relatively straightforward. If you're rolling attack dice, you're looking for swords. Each sword is a damage. And if you're rolling defense dice, each shield, you kind of put it in a slot here. And that blocks some incoming damage. So that's how the attack and defense dice work. But as well as trying to deal damage, the red chips, I should say, underneath are the health. So as you're dealing damage, you kind of remove the chips from these guys. They take damage, and once they've gone down to the bottom, they disappear off the map. But as well as the attack and defense dice, one of the really interesting things about the game is all these extra skill dice you can roll. So I was a tank, and you can see I've got lots of extra shield dice that I can roll. I've got this intercept ability, which means that I can prevent someone else from being attacked and I get attacked instead. Tink's character here allows him to bring on little mechanical bots that can help shoot things and tank certain enemies. Mark's character allows him to roll extra grenades. He can lob grenades into battle. He's trying to assemble components for a grenade during the fight. Then he throws them in and can potentially damage several things at once. And Sarah's character, Tantrum just hits really hard. She spent most of her game leveling up her attack, so she's rolling 6 attack dice every time and trying to one-shot as much as she possibly can. So when you level up, you can either choose to add your training points to these skills here, or you can unlock various dice here, and there's kind of unlock routes. So you need to get this one, you see the arrow here or down, you need to get that before you can get this one or this one, and then this one leads to this one. So there's a certain pass through as you go through the game, having several adventures. You can spend your training points to customize your character in a certain way. We've just come to the end of the game, I should say, and you can see I don't actually have that many dice unlocked. You're not going to unlock all of these by any means by the end of the adventure. So there's lots of sort of replayability in terms of the route that you can take. Another quick thing I'll mention about the battle is each of the baddies, when they come on, have we sort of put these dice in certain order, and you roll your initiative dice here to determine the player order, and then you work through, so they can interleave. It can be player, badder, etc. And then you rotate around this order as you go through the map. So positional play is very important here. There's lots of tactics to where you go and how you decide to attack and which boss or baddie you decide to attack there. So you have the fight usually, you resolve whatever encounter it was you drew, you get the loot cards. There's lots of loot cards you can draw. This one reduces the number of baddies that you're fighting in the next battle if you use this, for example. Various things that can heal you, like the Oggot herbs, you can be used in battle to heal yourself here. And then you typically recover at the end. You can sort of regain your health at the end of each battle. And just one final thing I will say, which is quite nice, is certain kinds of loot is locked, and there's a little lock-picking mechanic. So at the end of the day, you can try and unlock the thing that you've got your loots, and you're trying to get certain symbols. So to start with, I need 1 lever, which is an L. You can see I've just rolled 3L here. And then you sort of re-roll the dice, and you're trying to get 2 T's for the trip, and then 5 F's for the 4s. And once you manage to unlock all the different things, then you get some super special loot that's going to help you in some way. So that's the game. There's a lot more to it that I haven't explained, and already this has been quite a long video. There's an awful lot to this game. What do we think?
Yeah, I don't know where to start with it. I think on the battles are relatively simple, but there's a lot of thinking and positional play and working out. There's a lot of teamwork in it. It's not just a case of I'm going to walk up there and attack that. You need to plan what everybody's doing together and trying to... because everybody's got so different characters, it's very hard for one player to take control because everybody's sheet is different. We've all got our own help sheets, and you all need your own help sheet because that list of icons for me is completely different to the list of icons on every other player's stuff. So this help sheet's really handy if a lot to take in, but it does give you some help as well as suggested start builds for your character to improve because it's a lot to take in. The strength of this game is certainly the difference between the characters. By a long shot, every character feels different. You've all got your own upgrade paths. I mean, it's things like the special... Now, you say about the grenades. The fact is, nobody else got this thing where I've got to get these dice so I can then swap these in to then get... for components, then to get bombs. Nobody else has got anything similar to that. Your robot's a different thing again. So it's just the variation between the characters and the different leveling up. They all just feel so different, and that gives it so much replayability.
Okay. Sarah?
So I really liked playing Tantrum because just I didn't even max out on attack dice. Just being able to then go in and just roll the attack dice and then just basically kill everything that's there. The one thing that was really good on this one is throwing axes. So it's a consumable, so you literally, before you move, doesn't cost dexterity. You throw an axe and it does 2 damage to whatever monster you've given it to. The more people that you kill, the more your body count dice goes up, which then you can heal, so you can carry on just hitting different things. One of the things that I liked on this one is when you do up your backup plan, you get an additional benefit with it. So in relation to my character, I'd get rage every time I was attacked or I would hit anything, and if I get too much range, I would have a breakdown. So with getting up to my my backup plan and getting that all the way up to the innate version, it meant that I didn't actually have any breakdowns. So that was a good thing for the party because otherwise I wouldn't get any extra bones to then carry on with it. Every character is different, but it all works together. To start off with, we didn't have anyone that would do any healing, but once I started getting my attack dice up and my dexterity, we didn't really need anything to do a lot of healing because we were just able to kill baddies in a couple of rounds.
I should just mention this backup plan idea does work very well. Each of the attack dice and the defense dice and a lot of the other dice have one side usually which has what they call bones on. That's why the game's called Too Many Bones, which is effectively a miss. But any misses, all of these bones, you can place along here, and then you can spend them like a sort of currency to do extra things. So I could shield bash, or at least it allows me to re-roll some dice. Or if I get up to 4 of these bones, the benevolence would actually heal me a bit. So that's the backup plan that Sarah was talking about, and it can be very handy. How you manage that is very important.
Yeah, so it's like one of mine, it's like get angry, so I can up my rage dice to then end up getting more bones, because then I can get axe collector, which means I get more axes. And it's just been quite funny in some of the ends of these last couple of battles. It's literally, I've not actually had to roll any attack dice, I've just thrown an axe. So we were just saying that I was just throwing it over my shoulder and just going, yeah, done, and just walking away. It's a lot of fun.
All right, rating out of
10? I would give it an 8 and possibly even more, but we've played it twice and I definitely play it again.
Okay, Mark?
I think if I was playing it mainly as a 2, I'd probably give it a 9. I think that it can be quite long as a 4, so I'll give it an 8.5.
Okay. I have played this a lot. Since I've got it, I think I've played it 2 or 3 times a week. My son has played it even more than me, I think. He's played it solo and just loves the game. I think it's absolutely superb. I love the adventure aspects of it, the way you're picking the different choices each time. Do you want a more difficult battle with better loot, or do you want to play it safe and make sure you guarantee those training points so you can level up at the end of the battle? The difficulty is very well pitched, I think. You often find it's very tight. It's not easy to win these battles at all. And often we just squeak out a win, which feels great. The mechanics of the actual fighting on the battle map are really engaging. There's lots to think about there. And if you just rush in and think, oh yeah, I'll just move here and roll some dice and hit this thing, you will lose quite easily. You do really need to think about what you're doing, which is great. I love that sort of math almost approach to having to think about very carefully what you're doing. The leveling up of the characters is just great. There's so much to think about. If I just show you one of these dice trays, for example, these are the potential dice that one of the characters could get. And if you look at one of these dice, there are different symbols potentially on the different sides. So you, as Mark was saying, you're kind of looking at the sheet and going, okay, so this dice has got this symbol and this symbol and this symbol. So depending on what I roll, I get this or this or this. There's just tons of variability with this. And because you're not going to unlock all of those dice each time you play, every time you play again, even if it's with the same character, you could potentially go down a very different route and have a very different experience. So I'm finding it very difficult to find any fault with the game at all, really. The only thing I'd really like is maybe a campaign version, because it's the kind of game you want to play lots and lots and lots. And some more adventure cards would really help. I'm saying that because I would be on a 10 out of 10 if it just had maybe some extra adventure cards and a campaign system with it. As it is, I'd be on a 9 out of 10. I think the game is amazing. So I'd highly recommend you try this if you get the chance to play it. All right, thanks very much for watching. That was Too Many Bones.